Leave it to TNA. Just leave it to TNA. These sons of bitches, man, I'll tell you what, this fucking company here, there's something else, man. They really are. You know, I talked about it back before Bound for Glory, that pay-per-view, Bound for Glory 2013, was the last chance for that company to keep me watching their product and keep me a TNA fan. It was their last chance. And they did just barely enough to keep me watching their product. Just barely enough. And I emphasize again, just barely enough. But they got the job done. But over the past couple of months, I've just been waiting for an excuse, frankly, to stop watching this company and stop watching their product. Because they've got such a long, long way to go. And I'm just not sure they're ever going to finally fully figure it out and get the job done and become a more entertaining wrestling product. And then we get this week's show. I tell you what, TNA did a really good job this week. This was a really good show. This is the type of show that I would expect out of a TNA. You don't have to have the incredible production values. You don't have to have the pyro shooting left, right, up, down, and out your ass. You don't have to have this. You don't have to have that. But in order to entertain me and give me a good wrestling show geared towards me as an adult male, you got to do a lot of what TNA did this week. 100% shoot. This show was outstanding in my humble opinion. Especially the first half hour started off on fire. That freaking intro that TNA does, that is one thing that they do so damn well that the WWE ripped off and tried to do on their own. Man, that first 2-3 minutes, they set the table so damn well for this week's show in particular. It is one of those things that in general I like about TNA and their presentation every week. This is one of those influences from Eric Bischoff that was actually good. That first couple of minutes, man, they do the recap and they set the table so damn well for the show. It sometimes, frankly, is the best part of the damn show is the first 2 to 3 minutes when they do the video recaps and the video setup for what's to come this week. That was outstanding. Then you launch right into Kurt Angle and Magnus having a promo. You're talking about two former main event Mafia guys. You're setting up a match between the two later on in the night in this semifinal round of the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. This shit was outstanding, and out comes Rude, and then out comes Jeff Hardy, and you fire right off into a great tables match between Rude and Hardy. A really, really great tables match between these two. This is the type of tables match you could argue could have belonged on a pay-per-view. People might actually pay a few dollars to see this type of match. That's to me how good this match was. In particular, coming off of the great intro video, the very good promo segment, and then right into this match. Man, the first 25 minutes or so of the show were fucking outstanding. And then you go right after that, you know, Jeff Hardy win, and even the way you had Bobby Roode win. Even when you had Bobby Roode lose this match, you still, to me, didn't make him look like a chicken shit heel. You made him look like a very smart, cerebral heel, and that's a very big difference. That was very, very well done. Then you've got Ethan Carter III. Now, I could sit there and talk about the fact that maybe TNA is a little bit behind the times when it comes to using the 1% and 99% logic. That's something maybe that would have been more appropriate to use perhaps in 2011, 2012. But a lot of the principles are still out there, and a lot of the principles can still apply even in 2013. And when he went for a legend this week, he called out a legend. I wasn't sure where he was really going to go. But he went in a whole different direction, and this whole different direction was fucking awesome. He calls out Earl Hebner. And the way Earl Hebner sold this shit, he had Brian Hebner be the referee. Earl Hebner, after Ethan Carter finally puts his finger on top of him and pins him for the 1, 2, 3, Hebner's selling the shit like he got a fucking beat down. He's having to have Brian roll him out of the ring, and Earl's sitting there. Now, that was an awesome fucking segment that can generate some real heat on a heel character. That shit was fucking gold. I loved how during this show, when you had the Bromans versus Storm and Gunner, I love the fact that they're teasing some type of friction and animosity and future potential chaos between the Storm and Gunner team, that they're probably going to break off into something different. I love how throughout the whole course of the night, you know, Dixie's big thing was that she's going to sit there and she's going to get her TNA World Heavyweight Championship back from AJ Styles. That's TNA's intellectual property. How dare AJ Styles do it? If you don't send it back to us, you're going to go to court. We're going to sue your ass to get it back. Fucking well done all throughout the course of the night. Again, it was that little thing that made the World Championship the most important thing. Even in the way it was being done, this was outstanding. See, this is the type of shit you could have done WWE with the CM Punk angle in 2011. It didn't have to be perfect, because not everything they've done with this angle is perfect, but you could have done so much more than what you actually did and not panicked and had a knee-jerk reaction and robbed us as fans of what should have been a potentially great angle that could have led to years of drawing big-time money. This Spud, Rockstar Spud, you know, somebody that I look at and I say, you know what, that's somebody that the internet fans would like. Very short, very small, wrestles a certain type of indie style. Of course they're going to like him. But man, I tell you what, in this chief of staff role, I'm digging Rockstar Spud. He's fucking outstanding. This is perfect for him. This is an example to me of you don't always have to be a wrestler to get over. You don't always have to be doing all the flips and shit to matter. And Spud is doing a hell of a job in this chief of staff gimmick. Whoever came up with this deserves credit. And Spud, for executing it the way he has so far, and he's taken the ball and run with it, he deserves a lot of credit for this. This shit is fucking gold. It really is. I like how, you know, Gail Kim's married to a so-called celebrity chef, but they're actually bothering featuring him, Robert Irvine, whatever the fuck his name is. They're actually featuring him in the Impact 365 shit. You know, you've still got Gail Kim going out there and doing her open challenge. You know, we're getting to at least see a fresh knockout face every week, even if it's only a one-and-done gig for him. This shit is freaking gold. You know, it's amazing, isn't it? When you don't have ridiculous, oversized, and over-pushed heel factions dominating your show, how many other things can potentially flourish and shine? I mean, isn't it incredible? Isn't it amazing how that works? And then you get the main event match between Kurt Angle and Magnus. And the way this worked out was beautiful. You've got Kurt Angle looking like he could beat Magnus. And then here comes Robert Roode after the ref goes down with the ref bump. And he cost Kurt Angle the spot. They already had some history going into it. And they've kept that history, and now they're building up to another big-time match, one last perhaps big-time match between the two of them. This was done magnificently. And all the while, Magnus doesn't necessarily have to get any heat. You can still be kind of middle of the road with him, whether he's a face or a heel, yet you don't have to go all the way, because he didn't have anything to do with Robert Roode interfering. You know, he just took advantage of the situation, and he barely made it up for the 10 count himself in the last man standing match. Holy hell. So let me get this straight. In 2 weeks, we're going to have Jeff Hardy versus Magnus for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And this, in a lot of ways, I'm not talking about any spoilers. I haven't read any spoilers. I don't want any spoilers. So please don't post them. Please. Don't inbox me telling me about it. Nothing like that. You've got Jeff Hardy, who represents so many things when it comes to TNA. A lot of them wrong, not necessarily due to Jeff Hardy's fault alone, but he represents the WWE guy that came down to TNA. WWE didn't want him anymore, so TNA, of course, logically says, hey, we're going to push this guy to the top and ram him down your throats and da-da-da. Instead of taking the good way, and that's building our own heels and building our own faces to the top, we're just going to take somebody else's guy and put them immediately and insert them at the top. That's what Jeff Hardy represents to me. And then you've got Magnus, more of a homegrown TNA talent, a guy that they have slowly, and I emphasize sometimes very slowly, taken the opportunity to push him up the card and try to create a main eventer out of him for their company. And by God, they're finally starting to do it. Magnus represents everything for TNA that TNA needs to be in 2014 and beyond. It needs to be about the TNA guys. It doesn't need to be so much about the WWE guys anymore, the fucking rejects that have had their time in the sun in another place, but not in TNA. Because what have those former WWE guys really done for your company in the grand scheme of things? So in 2 weeks, TNA has a tremendous decision on their hands. I know the show's already going to take all this other shit. I'm speaking as if the decision hasn't been made yet, okay? You either go with Jeff Hardy and you continue to go with everything that's wrong about your company, or you go with Magnus and you start to make things right with your company again heading into 2014 and potentially building up to a very, very interesting feud between Magnus and AJ Styles. That could be outstanding. And the end of the show, when Dixie Carter finally gets her package, Rockstar Spud gives it to her. And it's a freaking little toy belt. That shit was awesome. This Friends of AJ stuff is incredible. I love this crap. There were so many good things on this show this week. If TNA can continue to do this, man, my interest level and passion for this company is going to increase several fold over. The bottom line is this to me was an outstanding professional wrestling show this week. Didn't have to have a lot of bullshit. No fucking over-dominant, overpowering, ridiculously oversized heel factions sucking up all the airtime for 16 damn months like it used to be. Isn't it amazing once you get rid of that, how much everything else is allowed to flourish and grow and how better your overall show can be? This was very well done by TNA this week. I hope next week's show lives up to this very lofty standard. This is one of the better impacts I have watched in a very, very long time. It got off to a hot start to me, and it never really cooled down. Shit, they're bringing back Feast or Fired. They're throwing a freaking bone to the older school TNA fans. I love this shit. Hell fucking yeah. Way to go, TNA. Good job this week.